So today we're going to do the Shashiko. The areas around the crotch from a patch can sometimes be quite worn out. The Shashiko is a good technique to repair that area and it strengthens it in a decorative way. We need some patch fabric and try to find a similar fabric to the main fabric, some pattern paper, paper scissors, fabric scissors, some pins, a ruler, thick Shashiko yarn, some contrasting yarn, beeswax, a needle, a pencil and some chalk. So let's do it. First, turn the garment inside out. Then put one leg into the other, so you eventually have one side facing. Take the chalk and mark at least 2 centimeters around the rib where the patch will be. Mine is going to be covering most of the worn out areas and the ribs, and therefore I'm going to make one big patch. With your pattern paper on top, you can trace the markings and the seams with a pencil. Take the pattern paper off the pants and make it more neat with a ruler. Then cut out the pattern with a paper scissors, not fabric scissors. Check quickly if the pattern makes sense. Take your patch material and fold it in half. Put the patch on top as much as possible in the corner of the fabric so you don't have any waste, and pin it down. Then take your fabric scissors and cut out the patch across the lines. Remove the pins. Take the pattern paper off and split the patches in two. Take back your pants and leave them inside out. Put the patch material on where you want to place it and see if it fits. Pin down the edges of the fabric, including the folds where you want to connect the two patches. Make sure there are no pleats between the patch fabric and the main fabric. Pin down the edges of the fabric, including the folds where you want to connect the two patches. Then take your contrasting yarn, cut how much you need, and lace the needle. Replace the pins with the basting stitch on the edges of the patch and around the edges of the rib. Then remove the pins. Take your fabric scissors and your Shashiko yarn and cut off some yarn. Then take your beeswax and wax the yarn. This is so that the yarn doesn't curl up or knots while you're sewing. Then lace the needle in and make a knot at the end of the yarn. Then start on the inside on the edge of the patch and then load up some stitches on your needle. So the bigger steps you make, of course, the bigger the stitches will be, and the smaller steps you take in between, the smaller stitches will be. If you're at the end of your line, you can start from the inside on the next one. It's a pretty easy technique. The only thing you should be aware of is that you shouldn't pull the yarn too hard as the fabric otherwise wrinkles too much. For sure when your yarn is 100% cotton and therefore it can shrink in the washing machine. So try to leave a bit of a loop at the end and in the beginning of your line. Then when you're finished, you can finish it with a double loop back stitch on the back. Cut off the leftover yarns and fraying edges and remove the basting stitch. So you can apply the Shashiko only around the ribbed areas, or you can do it like me and color in the patch fully. Then remove the rest of the basting stitch and you're done. So the Shashiko stitch is possible in cross stitches or pattern stitches, but I like to do it in straight stitches like we did before. So you don't need to do it in white thread only, but you can also do it in the same color as the garment on the print, where you slightly see the repair. So I did it here on this dress in the neckline to attach the lining back. I did it under the armpits and underneath the dress where my dress got stuck in my racing bike. And this is the result. So the nice thing with the Shashiko technique is that you can do it on places where there's not much friction, but also where there's a lot of friction, like here on the knees. Have fun and good luck! If you want to see more techniques, go to fixing.fashion, and if you are looking for a place that can repair and upgrade your clothes or want to set up a space, make sure to visit our global community map. And have fun!